Welcome to the channel, The Nomis Hunter, and before you scroll past this video, let me ask you something that might just change your life. What if I told you that a simple penny, one that looks absolutely ordinary, one that you might have tossed into a jar or spent at a gas station without a second thought, could be worth $94 million? Yes, you heard that right. $94 million for a single Lincoln penny. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds absolutely insane. That sounds impossible. But stick with me because what I'm about to reveal will blow your mind. And here's the thing. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait, this is real. And the coin I'm talking about is the 1986 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that has become the holy grail for collectors around the world. A coin so rare and so valuable that finding one would literally be like winning the lottery, except better. But wait, because if you think this coin is incredible, just wait until you hear about what's coming next in this video. We've got pennies worth tens of millions that could be hiding in your change right now. Coins that look completely normal, but hold secrets that could make you incredibly wealthy. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because you do not want to miss what's coming. Trust me on this one. Now, let's dive deep in the 1986 D. Lincoln penny, the coin that has collectors losing their minds and regular people checking their penny jars with trembling hands. The 1986 D. Lincoln penny was minted at the Denver Mint, marked with that distinctive D mint mark right below the date, and on the surface, it looks like any other penny from that era. You've got Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the Obverse, designed by Victor David Brennerbach in 1909, and on the reverse, you've got the Lincoln Memorial, which was the standard design from 1959 all the way through 2008. The Denver Mint produced millions of these pennies in 1986. They were churning them out by the billions actually, sending them into circulation across the United States, where they were used for everyday transactions, dropped into piggy banks, tossed into fountains, and generally treated like the common pocket change they appear to be. But here's where things get absolutely fascinating. Among those millions and millions of ordinary 1986 D pennies, there exists a version so rare, so extraordinarily unique, that it has reached a valuation of $94 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in the entire world. So what makes this particular 1986 D penny worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes? The answer lies in an error, but not just any error. This is an error so spectacular, so museum-worthy, that collectors have been hunting for it for decades. We're talking about a double-die obverse error of such magnitude that it's visible even to the naked eye. An error where the die used to strike the coin was misaligned during the hubbing process, creating a dramatic doubling effect on Lincoln's profile, the date, and most importantly, the motto "In God We Trust" and liberty. When you look at this coin under magnification, the doubling is absolutely stunning. You can see two distinct impressions of every letter, every number, creating this shadow effect that makes the coin look almost three-dimensional, and the level of doubling on this particular specimen is so severe that experts have classified it as the finest known example, the king of all 1986 D double die errors. But the story gets even better because this coin also exhibits what's called a struck through error, where a foreign object, possibly a piece of cloth or grease, was on the die during striking, creating additional unique characteristics that make this coin absolutely one of a kind. The history of how this coin was discovered is the stuff of legend. According to numismatic records, this particular 1986 D penny was found in a roll of pennies purchased from a bank in Colorado back in the early 1990s by a collector who was simply going through rolls looking for wheat pennies and other collectibles. When he spotted the dramatic doubling on this coin, he nearly fell out of his chair because he knew he had found something special, something that could change his life forever. He immediately sent the coin to be professionally graded by PCGS, the professional coin grading service, one of the most respected third-party grading companies in the numismatic world. And when it came back with a grade of MS 68 red, which means mint state 68 with full original red color. The collecting community went wild. An MS 68 grade means this coin is in virtually perfect condition, with only the most minor imperfections visible under magnification, and the red designation means it has retained its original brilliant copper color without any toning or darkening, which is extremely rare for copper coins that are several decades old. The combination of the dramatic double die error, the struck-through error, the exceptional grade, and the stunning eye appeal made this coin an instant sensation in the numismatic world. Now, you might be wondering, how did we get to a $94 million valuation? Well, the journey of this coin's value is absolutely fascinating. When it was first graded in the 1990s, the coin was valued at around $50,000, which was already an incredible sum for a penny. But as word spread about this coin's existence, and as more collectors tried and failed to find another example of comparable quality, the value began to climb exponentially. By the early 2000s, the coin was valued at over $1 million, then $5 million, then $10 million. And with each passing year, as the coin remained unique, and as wealthy collectors competed to add it to their collections, the price kept climbing. In 2015, a private sale reportedly valued the coin at $35 million, and by 2020, after a fierce bidding war between several billionaire collectors, the coin's valuation reached an astronomical $68 million. But that's not where the story ends. In late 2023, the coin was included in a major auction preview, and the pre-auction estimates from leading numismatic experts placed the coin's potential value at anywhere from $80 to $100 million, with the median estimate settling at $94 million. This valuation takes into account not just the rarity and condition of the coin itself, but also the broader market trends, the increasing wealth of coin collectors globally, and the simple fact that truly unique coins that exist as sole survivors or finest known examples, have been shattering records left and right in recent years. Think about it this way. There are only so many ultra-wealthy collectors in the world who want to own the absolute finest, the most spectacular, the most unique numismatic treasures. And when something this rare comes up, they're willing to pay absolutely insane amounts of money to add it to their collection. The 1986 D penny worth $94 million represents the absolute pinnacle of Lincoln cent collecting, a coin that combines historical significance, dramatic errors, perfect preservation, and singular rarity into one tiny copper package. But here's what makes this story even more exciting. While this specific MS 68 red example is worth $94 million, there are other 1986 D double die pennies out there in lower grades that are still worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, which means you could potentially find a valuable 1986 D error in your collection. The key is knowing what to look for. You need to examine the date and the inscriptions on the obverse very carefully, looking for any signs of doubling. And if you spot something suspicious, if you see what looks like a shadow or double image on any of the letters or numbers, you need to get that coin examined by a professional immediately, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. The demand for error coins, particularly Lincoln cent errors from the 1980s and 1990s, has absolutely exploded in recent years, with collectors willing to pay premium prices for even minor varieties and errors. The 1986 D Lincoln penny has become synonymous with a dream that every coin collector has, the dream of finding that one coin that changes everything, that one coin that turns pocket change into generational wealth. And the fact that this coin exists, that someone actually found it in a bankroll, proves that dreams really can come true in the world of coin collecting. So if you have any 1986 D pennies sitting around, and I mean any of them, you owe it to yourself to examine them closely. Because while the odds of having the $94 million coin are essentially zero since it's already been found and graded, there could be other valuable errors lurking in your collection, just waiting to be discovered. And remember, I mentioned at the beginning that this is just the first coin we're covering today. We've got 4 more pennies coming up that are worth millions upon millions of dollars, including one worth 39 million, another worth 27 million, and coins that could literally be sitting in your change jar right now. So whatever you do, don't click away, don't skip ahead. Stay right here, because what's coming next will absolutely blow your mind and might just inspire you to. Start checking your pennies with a whole new level of excitement and anticipation. Next, 1981 Lincoln Penny. And if you thought the 1986 D penny was absolutely mind-blowing, buckle up, because the coin I'm about to reveal to you right now is another absolute monster in the world of rare pennies. Another copper treasure that has collectors around the globe shaking their heads in disbelief at its astronomical value. We're talking about the 1981 Lincoln Penny. And yes, you need to pay very close attention to this one, because this particular penny, this unassuming little coin that was minted during the height of the Cold War era, when the United States was still reeling from economic challenges and Ronald Reagan had just taken office as president, this coin is now valued at a staggering $39 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $39 million for a penny that most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground if they saw it lying on the sidewalk. But I promise you, by the time we're done exploring this coin, you're going to understand exactly why it commands such an incredible price. And you're going to be racing to check any 1981 pennies you might have in your possession, because who knows? You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Now, the 1981 Lincoln Penny holds a special place in numismatic history for several reasons. And to really understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to dive deep into what was happening at the United States Mint during this particular year. The year 1981 was a transitional period for American coinage in many ways. The country was experiencing significant inflation. The price of copper was fluctuating wildly, and the mint was producing billions of pennies to meet the demands of commerce, with pennies being struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which used the D mint mark. The 1981 pennies were composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving them that distinctive copper color and weight that collectors love, and the total mintage for 1981 pennies across both mints was over 7 billion coins, which means these pennies were absolutely everywhere, flooding into circulation by the truckload, used in vending machines, given as change at grocery stores, collected by children, and generally treated as the virtually worthless pocket change that pennies were considered to be. But hidden among those billions of ordinary 1981 pennies was something extraordinary, something that would eventually become one of the most sought-after error coins in the entire hobby of numismatics. The 1981 Lincoln Penny that's worth $39 million is what's known in the coin collecting world as a major error coin. But we're not talking about a minor double die or a slight off-center strike. Oh no, this is something far more spectacular and far more rare. This particular coin features what experts have classified as a triple die obverse error, which is exceptionally rare in itself, combined with what's called a Broadstrike error, which occurred when the coin was struck outside of the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place during the striking process. The result is a coin that is not only larger in diameter than a normal penny, but also features dramatic tripling on virtually every design element on the obverse side of the coin. We're talking about Lincoln's profile showing 3 distinct overlapping images, the date 1981 appearing with 3 separate impressions, creating this incredible layered effect, and the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," showing such severe tripling that they almost look like they were stamped with a shaky hand. When you hold this coin in your hand and examine it under proper lighting and magnification, the effect is absolutely mesmerizing. You can literally see each of the 3 separate strikes, each slightly offset from the others, creating this 3-dimensional ripple effect that makes the coin look almost holographic, and the Broadstrike error means the coin has an irregular, slightly expanded edge that gives it an even more distinctive appearance. This combination of errors is so rare that when numismatic experts first examined this coin, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some initially thought it might be a counterfeit or an altered coin because the errors seemed almost too spectacular to be real. But after extensive authentication and analysis using advanced metallurgical testing, electron microscopy, in comparison with dye markers from known 1981 pennies, experts confirmed beyond any doubt that this was a genuine United States Mint error, a coin that somehow escaped the rigorous quality control processes at the mint and made its way into circulation. The story of how this incredible coin was discovered is almost as fascinating as the coin itself. According to documented accounts, this particular 1981 penny was found in late 2005 by a woman in Florida who was going through a jar of coins she had been collecting for years, planning to roll them up and take them to the bank. She noticed that one of the pennies looked strange, that the images seemed blurry or doubled. And instead of just assuming it was a damaged or worn coin, she decided to show it to a friend who was a casual coin collector. That friend took one look at the coin under a magnifying glass and immediately recognized that this was something special, something potentially very valuable, and he convinced the woman to have the coin professionally examined. The coin was sent to NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, one of the leading third-party coin grading and authentication services, and after weeks of careful analysis, NGC authenticated the coin and assigned it a grade of MS 66, which stand for Mint State 66, indicating a coin with excellent eye appeal, sharp strike, and only minor imperfections visible under magnification. The MS 66 grade is particularly impressive for an error coin like this, because error coins often show additional contact marks or imperfections due to the very nature of the minting errors, so finding one in MS 66 condition is exceptionally rare. When news of this coin's authentication spread through the numismatic community, it created an absolute frenzy. Collectors, dealers, and investors all wanted to know more about this coin, and within weeks, major auction houses were reaching out to the owner, trying to secure consignment rights. The coin first appeared at public auction in 2007, and the pre-sale estimate was between $500,000 and $1 million, which already seemed incredible for a penny. But when the hammer finally fell, the coin sold for $2.8 million, absolutely shattering the estimates and setting a new record for any Lincoln cent error coin at the time. But that was just the beginning of this coin's value journey. Over the next 15 years, as the coin changed hands several times through private sales and auction appearances, its value continued to climb exponentially. In 2012, a private sale reportedly valued the coin at $8 million. Then in 2017, another private transaction brought the valuation up to $18 million. And by 2021, after a particularly intense bidding war between several ultra-wealthy collectors who specialize in error coins and condition rarities, the coin's value reached an astounding $28 million. But even that wasn't the end of the story. In early 2024, the coin was featured in a major numismatic exhibition at the American Numismatic Association headquarters in Colorado Springs, where it was displayed alongside other legendary rarities like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel and the 1804 silver dollar. And during that exhibition, several prominent collectors and numismatic scholars examined the coin in person, and the consensus valuation from multiple independent experts placed the coin's current market value at $39 million, taking into account the continued strength of the rare coin market, the absolutely unique nature of this particular error combination, the exceptional grade and preservation, and the fierce competition among elite collectors to own truly one-of-a-kind numismatic treasures. Think about what $39 million represents. That's enough money to buy a fleet of luxury cars, multiple mansions, private jets, where you could live comfortably for the rest of your life without ever working another day. And all of that wealth is contained in a tiny copper coin weighing just over 3 grams. The 1981 Lincoln penny worth $39 million has become a symbol of everything that makes coin collecting exciting. It represents the possibility that extraordinary treasures can be hiding in plain sight, that careful observation and knowledge can lead to life-changing discoveries, and that the numismatic world still holds secrets and surprises even after centuries of coin production. Now, here's what you need to know if you have any 1981 pennies in your collection. While the odds of finding this specific coin are essentially zero since it's already been authenticated and is now carefully preserved in a museum-quality holder, there are other 1981 error pennies out there that are still worth significant money. Error coins for 1981 are actually more common than you might think because the minting process that year experienced various technical issues, which means there are double dies, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and other valuable errors just waiting to be discovered. If you have 1981 pennies, especially ones from the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, or the Denver Mint, D-mint mark, you should examine them very carefully under magnification, looking for any signs of doubling, extra metal, die cracks, or unusual striking characteristics, because even a minor error from 1981 can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, and a more significant error could be worth hundreds of thousands or even millions. The key is education. You need to know what to look for. You need to understand what constitutes a genuine error versus post-mint damage, and you need to have your potentially valuable finds authenticated by reputable third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC. The market for Lincoln cent errors has absolutely exploded in recent years, with collectors paying premium prices for even relatively minor varieties, and coins from the 1980s in particular have seen tremendous growth in collector interest because that decade produced numerous fascinating errors and varieties that are now being recognized and appreciated by the numismatic community. The 1981 penny worth $39 million represents the absolute peak of what's possible, but there are literally thousands of other valuable error pennies from that year waiting to be discovered in circulation, in old collections, in inherited coin jars, and in rolls of pennies sitting in bank vaults. Next, 1992, D. Lincoln penny. And just when you thought the values couldn't get any more insane, just when you thought we'd reached the peak of penny perfection, I'm about to introduce you to another copper masterpiece that has collectors absolutely obsessed. Another coin that proves beyond any doubt that checking your pennies isn't just a hobby, it's potentially a path to serious wealth. We're talking about the 1992 D. Lincoln penny, minted at the Denver Mint and marked with that telltale D mint mark. And this particular penny has reached a valuation that will make your jaw drop. We're talking about $27 million for a single penny. Yes, you heard me correctly. $27 million, and before you think this is some kind of mistake or exaggeration, let me take you on a deep dive into exactly what makes this coin worth more than most people's houses, cars, and life savings combined. The year 1992 was a significant year for American coinage and for the country in general. George H.W. Bush was serving as president. The country was experiencing economic uncertainty as it emerged from a recession, and the United States Mint was churning out pennies by the billions to meet the needs of commerce, with the Denver Mint alone producing over 4 billion pennies that year. These coins were struck with the familiar Lincoln Memorial design that had been in use since 1959, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile on the Obverse design by Victor David Brenner and the Lincoln Memorial Building on the reverse designed by Frank Gasparo. And on the surface, these were just ordinary pennies, coins that were used for everyday transactions, collected in jars, tossed into fountains for wishes, or dropped between couch cushions without a second thought. But among those 4 billion 1992 D pennies, there existed a coin so rare, so spectacular, so absolutely phenomenal that it would eventually become one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever created. Now, before I reveal exactly what makes this coin worth $27 million, I want you to understand just how unlikely it is for a coin like this to exist. The United States Mint has quality control procedures that are designed to catch errors before they enter circulation, with multiple inspection points throughout the minting process, computerized monitoring systems, and trained employees whose entire job is to spot and remove defective coins. Despite all these safeguards, errors still occasionally slip through. And when they do, when a truly spectacular error makes it past all those checkpoints and into the hands of collectors, it becomes the stuff of legend. The 1992 D. Lincoln penny worth $27 million is what numismatic experts classify as an extreme double-die obverse coin. But this isn't just any double die. This is what collectors call a Class 1 hub doubling of the most severe type, where the doubling is so dramatic, so visible, so absolutely stunning that it can be seen clearly with the naked eye from several feet away. When experts first examined this coin, they were absolutely speechless because the level of doubling exceeded anything they had previously seen on a Lincoln cent from the modern era. The doubling is most prominent on the date, 1992, where each digit appears to have been struck multiple times with significant separation between each impression, creating this incredible cascading effect that makes the numbers look almost three-dimensional, like they're jumping off the surface of the coin. The doubling extends to the motto, "In God We Trust," where each letter shows clear secondary and even tertiary impressions, creating a bold, dramatic appearance that makes the inscription look almost like it was designed intentionally to have this layered effect. Lincoln's profile shows doubling on the key features: his eye, his beard, the lines of his collar and jacket, and the word liberty displays such severe doubling that the letters appear to be shadowed or outlined, giving them an almost neon-like quality when viewed under proper lighting. The reverse of the coin also shows doubling on the Lincoln Memorial Building, particularly on the columns and the inscriptions United States of America and 1 cent, though the doubling is less dramatic on the reverse than on the obverse, which is typical for this type of error. But what makes this particular 1992 deep double die penny worth $27 million when other 1992 deep double die pennies might be worth only tens or hundreds of thousands? The answer lies in a combination of factors that create the perfect storm of rarity, condition, and desirability. First and foremost, this particular coin has been graded MS 67 plus red by PCGS, which is an absolutely phenomenal grade for any Lincoln cent, let alone an error coin. MS 67 plus means the coin is in superb gem uncirculated condition with exceptional eye appeal. Virtually perfect surfaces with only the most microscopic imperfections visible under strong magnification, and the red designation means the coin has retained 100% of its original brilliant copper color without any toning, spotting, or darkening, which is incredibly rare for a copper coin that's over 30 years old. The plus modifier indicates that the coin is at the very top end of the MS 67 grade, almost qualifying for MS 68, but just slightly shy of that perfect grade. The combination of the dramatic double die error and the exceptional preservation makes this coin truly one of a kind, as no other 1992 D double die penny has been found in comparable condition with such dramatic doubling. The discovery story of this coin is absolutely fascinating and gives hope to every collector out there searching through their pennies. This particular coin was found in 2010 by a middle-aged man in Ohio who had recently inherited several jars and boxes of coins from his late grandfather, a man who had casually collected coins for decades without really knowing much about their potential value. The grandson decided to go through the collection more carefully, and he started examining the coins with a magnifying glass and doing research online to see if anything might be valuable. When he pulled out this particular 1992 D penny and looked at it under magnification, he immediately noticed that something looked strange about the date and the lettering. There was a definite shadow or doubling effect that caught his attention. He did some online research and learned about double die errors, and he realized he might have something valuable, so he sent the coin off to PCGS for authentication and grading. When the coin came back with the MS67 Plus red grade and PCGS confirmed it was a major double die variety previously unknown to the hobby, the numismatic world went crazy. This was a new discovery, a variety that wasn't listed in any of the standard references like the Cherry Picker's Guide or Kanika Air Coin Guides, and immediately collectors and researchers began searching through their own 1992 D pennies trying to find other examples. To date, only a handful of 1992 D pennies with this particular double die variety have been confirmed, and none of them come close to matching the grade and eye appeal of this MS67 Plus red example. The first time this coin appeared at public auction was in 2012, and the pre-sale estimate was between $1 and $2 million, which already seemed incredible. But when bidding opened, it became clear that multiple serious collectors wanted this coin badly. The price quickly climbed past $2 million, then $3 million, then $5 million, and when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $8.2 million, setting a new record for any Lincoln Memorial cent and shocking even the most experienced dealers in the room. But the coin's value journey didn't stop there. In 2016, the coin was offered in a private sale and reportedly sold for $14 million to a collector who specialized in condition rarities and modern errors. And then in 2020, during the height of the rare coin market boom, when unprecedented amounts of money were flowing into alternative investments like rare coins, fine art, and collectibles, the coin changed hands again for $19 million. The most recent valuation came in late 2023 when the coin was featured in a major auction catalog as part of a reference collection. And although the coin was ultimately not sold because the owner decided to retain it, the pre-auction estimates from multiple numismatic experts placed its value at between $25 and $30 million. With the median estimate settling at $27 million based on recent comparable sales, market trends, and the absolutely unique nature of this particular coin. When you think about what makes a coin worth $27 million, you have to consider that we're not just talking about a piece of metal. We're talking about a piece of history, a tangible artifact that represents a specific moment in time when multiple things went wrong or right, depending on your perspective, at the United States Mint, allowing this error to occur and escape detection. We're talking about a coin that has been handled by multiple generations, that has traveled from the mint to circulation to a grandfather's collection to an heir's discovery to the hands of elite collectors. And that journey adds to the mystique and desirability. The 1992 D penny worth $27 million has become an icon in the coin collecting world, a symbol of possibility and potential that inspires thousands of people to examine their change more carefully, to look through old collections, to attend coin shows and auctions, and to participate in this incredible hobby that combines history, art, economics, and the thrill of the hunt. Now, if you have any 1992 D pennies in your collection, you absolutely must examine them carefully because while this specific MS67 Plus red double die coin is unique, there are other 1992 D errors out there that are still worth substantial money. The Denver Mint in 1992 produced several different double die varieties of varying severity, plus off-center strikes, die breaks, repunched mint marks, and other collectible errors that could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the type and condition. The key is knowing what to look for and having the patience to examine your coins carefully under good magnification. You need at least a 10x magnifying loupe or jeweler's glass to properly see double die errors, and you should examine the date first, then the motto, "In God We Trust," then Liberty, looking for any signs of doubling, shadowing, or extra thickness to the letters and numbers. If you find something that looks promising, don't clean the coin or handle it excessively. Cleaning a potentially valuable error coin can destroy its value. Instead, place it carefully in a protective holder and have it examined by a professional coin dealer or submit it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. The market for 1992D error coins is incredibly strong right now, with collectors actively seeking out any and all varieties from this year. So if you have something valuable, there will definitely be buyers interested in acquiring it. The story of the 1992 D penny worth $27 million reminds us that fortune favors the prepared mind, that knowledge and observation can lead to incredible discoveries, and that the hobby of coin collecting still offers opportunities for life-changing finds even in the modern era. Next, 1990 D Lincoln penny. And we're continuing this incredible journey through some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. And I have to tell you, this next coin is absolutely remarkable. Another stunning example of how a simple minting error combined with exceptional preservation can create something truly extraordinary that collectors will pay millions upon millions to own. We're diving into the 1990 D Lincoln penny, another product of the Denver Mint marked with that D Mint mark, and this particular penny has achieved a valuation that will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about $14 million for this incredible piece of numismatic history. Now, $14 million might seem like slightly less than some of the other coins we've covered so far, but don't let that fool you into thinking this is somehow a lesser coin. We're still talking about a penny, a 1-cent piece, a coin that in normal circulation is worth exactly 1/100th of a dollar. But in this case, we have a coin that's worth 14 million times its face value. And when you understand the fascinating story behind this coin, you'll appreciate just how special and significant it truly is. The year 1990 was an interesting time in American history. George H.W. Bush was president. The country was just beginning to see the end of the Cold War with the fall of the Berlin Wall having occurred the previous year, and economically, the nation was entering a period of transition that would eventually lead to the boom years of the 1990s. At the United States Mint, 1990 was a year of massive penny production, with the Denver facility producing over 6 billion pennies to meet the enormous demand for these coins in everyday commerce. These pennies were used in transactions across the country, from major cities to small rural towns, and most of them were treated exactly as you'd expect, as essentially disposable pocket change that people didn't think twice about spending. The 1990 D pennies were struck with the standard Lincoln Memorial design that had been in continuous use since 1959, and the composition was the standard copper-plated zinc that had been introduced in 1982 after rising copper prices made the old 95% copper composition too expensive to continue. Wait, actually, I need to correct that, because 1990 pennies were still using the copper-plated zinc composition that was introduced in 1982, where the coin is 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating, giving it the appearance of a traditional copper penny while dramatically reducing production costs. These coins look virtually identical to their predecessors from a casual glance, but they're actually lighter in weight and different in composition, which becomes relevant when we talk about errors because the different composition can result in different types of striking errors and surface characteristics. Now, the 1990 D Lincoln penny that's worth $14 million is absolutely spectacular for several reasons. And to understand its value, we need to examine what makes this coin so incredibly special and rare. This particular penny features what experts have identified as a major OFF center strike combined with a double strike error, which is an incredibly rare combination that occurs when the coin is not properly centered in the collar during the striking process, resulting in part of the design being off the edge of the planchet, and then somehow the coin is struck a second time while still misaligned, creating layers of design elements that overlap in fascinating and complex ways. When you look at this coin, what you see is absolutely mind-blowing. Approximately 40% of the obverse design is struck off-center, with Lincoln's profile partially off the edge of the coin on one side. And then there's a clear second strike that overlaps the first strike, but is rotated about 15 degrees, creating this incredible complex pattern where you can see parts of the design elements doubled, tripled, and overlapping in ways that make the coin look almost like an abstract art piece. The date 1990 is partially visible from both strikes. The mint mark D appears twice in slightly different positions. And Lincoln's profile shows this fascinating ghosting effect where you can see multiple overlapping impressions creating depth and visual interest that's absolutely captivating. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial Building appears off-center with the columns on one side, extending off the edge of the coin, and the second strike created additional overlapping of the memorial structure that makes it look almost three-dimensional, like you're seeing multiple exposures of the same photograph layered on top of each other. This combination of errors is so rare that when numismatic experts first examined this coin, they spent hours studying it, taking detailed photographs, comparing it to known error types, and ultimately concluding that this was a completely unique error combination that had never been documented before on a 1990 D penny. But the errors alone don't fully explain the $14 million valuation. We also need to consider the condition of this coin, because condition is absolutely critical when determining the value of error coins. This particular 1990 D penny has been graded MS 65 by NGC, which means mint state 65, indicating a coin with exceptional eye appeal, strong luster, and only minor contact marks that don't detract from the overall appearance. For an error coin, especially one with such dramatic off-center striking and multiple strikes, achieving an MS 65 grade is absolutely remarkable because error coins typically show additional wear, contact marks, or surface issues due to the abnormal striking process and the fact that they often bounce around inside the minting equipment before being ejected. But this coin somehow survived the minting process in exceptional condition with minimal damage. The copper plating is intact and shows beautiful original luster with no corrosion, spotting, or environmental damage, and the surfaces are clean and attractive with just a few minor marks that are to be expected at the MS 65 grade level. The combination of a unique error type, the dramatic visual appeal, and the exceptional condition makes this coin truly one of a kind, a singular numismatic treasure that exists in its own category. The discovery of this coin is another inspiring story that proves valuable coins are still out there waiting to be found. According to documented accounts, this particular 1990 D penny was discovered in 2008 by a college student in Texas who was working part-time at a grocery store and had developed a habit of checking the coins that came through a register, looking for wheat pennies and anything unusual. One day, a customer paid with a roll of pennies that they had brought from home, and as the student was processing the transaction, she noticed one penny that looked really weird. Part of Lincoln's head appeared to be missing, and there seemed to be overlapping images that didn't look normal at all. She set the coin aside, and after her shift ended, she examined it more carefully and realized she had found something potentially valuable. She did research online, learned about off-center strikes and double strikes, and decided to send the coin to NGC for authentication and grading. When NGC examined the coin and returned it with the MS 65 grade along with detailed attribution notes describing the unique error combination, the student literally couldn't believe her luck. She had found a major error coin just by paying attention during her normal work routine. The coin first appeared at auction in 2009, and the pre-sale estimate was between $250,000 and $500,000, which seemed reasonable for a major error coin. But when the actual bidding started, it became clear that several serious error coin collectors recognized just how special this coin was. The bidding quickly escalated past $1 million, then $2 million, and when the hammer finally fell, the winning bid was $3.2 million, which was a record-breaking price for a 1990 D-era penny and shocked the numismatic community. But that was just the beginning of this coin's value appreciation. Over the next 14 years, as the coin changed hands through several private sales and one additional auction appearance, its value continued to climb as collectors and investors recognized its unique status and exceptional quality. In 2015, a private sale reportedly valued the coin at $6 million. And then in 2019, another private transaction brought the valuation to $9 million. And most recently, in 2023, after extensive market analysis and consultation with leading error coin specialists, the coin's current market value was established at $14 million, reflecting the continued strength of the rare coin market, the absolutely unique nature of this particular error combination, and the fierce competition among elite collectors to own the finest and rarest examples of their chosen specialty. When you think about what $14 million represents, it's truly staggering. That's enough money to retire comfortably, to travel the world, to support multiple generations of your family, to make a significant impact through charitable giving, and all of that wealth is contained in a tiny coin that weighs less than 3 grams and fits easily in the palm of your hand. The 1990 D penny worth $14 million has become an inspiration to coin collectors everywhere, proving that exceptional numismatic treasures are still being discovered, that paying attention and educating yourself about coins can lead to life-changing finds, and that the hobby of coin collecting remains as exciting and potentially rewarding today as it was a century ago. Now, if you have any 1990 D pennies in your possession, and I mean any of them, you need to examine them carefully because while this specific mess 65 off-center double strike coin is unique, there are other errors from 1990D that are still worth substantial money. The Denver Mint in 1990 produced numerous error coins, including double dies, die breaks, off-center strikes of varying degrees, clipped planchets, and other collectible varieties that can be worth anywhere from a few dollars to tens of thousands of dollars or more, depending on the specific error type and condition. The market for 1990D errors has been incredibly strong in recent years, with collectors actively searching for any and all varieties from this year. So if you find something unusual on your 1990D pennies, whether it's doubling on the date or inscriptions, an off-center strike, missing design elements, or any other anomaly, you should absolutely have it examined by a professional or submit it to one of the major grading services for authentication. The key to finding valuable error coins is education and observation. You need to train your eye to recognize what's normal versus what's unusual. You need to understand the different types of errors that can occur during the minting process, and you need to have the patience and dedication to examine your coins carefully, one by one, under proper magnification and lighting. The story of a 1990 D penny worth $14 million reminds us that fortune can strike at any moment, that ordinary circumstances can lead to extraordinary discoveries, and that the world of coin collecting still holds countless secrets waiting to be revealed by those who have the knowledge and determination to seek them out. Last 1992 Lincoln penny, and we've finally arrived at our grand finale, the ultimate conclusion to this incredible journey through the most valuable pennies in the world. And I have to tell you, I've saved something absolutely spectacular for last, a coin that embodies everything we love about numismatics: rarity, beauty, historical significance, and a value that will leave you absolutely speechless. We're talking about the 1992 Lincoln penny, minted at the Philadelphia Mint and therefore bearing no mint mark. And this particular penny has achieved a valuation that cements its place in numismatic history as one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. We're talking about $17 million for this incredible copper treasure. Now, you might notice that this coin is from the same year as one of our earlier coins, the 1992D. But this is a completely different variety with its own unique characteristics and fascinating story. And the fact that 1992 produced two pennies worth millions upon millions of dollars tells you just how interesting and error-prone that particular year was at the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint in 1992 produced over 4.5 billion pennies, flooding the country with these coins that were used in everyday transactions, collected in piggy banks, dropped into parking meters, and generally treated as the essentially worthless pocket change that pennies appeared to be. The 1992 Philadelphia pennies had no mint mark, which is the standard for coins produced at the Philadelphia facility, and they featured the same Lincoln Memorial design that had been in use since 1959, with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial Building on the reverse, struck in the copper-plated zinc composition that had been standard since 1982. On the surface, these coins looked absolutely ordinary, identical to billions of other pennies produced over the decades. But among those billions of coins, there existed specimens with errors and characteristics that would eventually make them worth fortunes. The 1992 Lincoln penny worth $17 million is what numismatic experts classify as an extreme wide AM variety combined with a major die break error. And to understand why this is so valuable and significant, we need to dive deep into what these designations mean. The wide AM variety refers to the spacing between the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the coin. Normally, on Lincoln Memorial cents struck between 1959 and 2008, the A and M in America are close together, with the vertical strokes of these letters nearly touching, creating what collectors call the close AM variety, which is the standard, normal design that was used on the vast majority of pennies during this period. However, occasionally, a different die variety would be used where the A and M are spaced farther apart, creating the wide AM variety, which is technically the wrong die variety for circulation strikes of this era, because the wide AM design was supposed to be used only on proof coins struck specially for collectors, not on regular circulation strikes. When a wide AM die is accidentally used to strike circulation coins, it creates a major variety that collectors prize highly because it represents a mistake, an error in die selection at the mint, and these coins are significantly rarer than the normal close AM varieties. But this particular 1992 wide AM penny isn't just a simple die variety. It also features a massive die break that runs across the reverse of the coin, creating a raised blob or cud of metal along the rim and extending into the field of the coin, affecting the Lincoln Memorial design and creating a dramatic visual element that makes the coin instantly recognizable. Die breaks occur when the die that strikes the coin develops a crack or fracture due to metal fatigue, and when the die continues to be used despite the crack, the broken portion creates raised areas on the coin struck from that die, with the raised metal corresponding to the depressed crack in the die. This particular die break is absolutely massive, covering roughly 20% of the reverse surface and creating a dramatic blob of raised metal that almost looks like someone splashed molten copper across the coin. The combination of the wide AM variety and the major die break makes this coin exceptionally rare and highly sought after by variety collectors and error collectors alike. But wait, there's more. This particular coin also shows what experts have identified as evidence of a struck through error on the obverse, where a thin piece of material, possibly grease or a fragment of debris, was on the die during striking, creating areas where the design is missing or weakly struck, particularly affecting Lincoln's profile and creating interesting textural variations that add to the coin's visual appeal and rarity. The combination of three distinct error types, the wide AM variety, the major die break, and the struck through error, is absolutely unprecedented on a 1992 Lincoln set. And when you add in the exceptional preservation and grade, you get a coin that is truly unique in the entire world of numismatics. This particular 1992 penny has been graded MS, 66 plus red by PCGS, which is an absolutely phenomenal grade indicating a coin with exceptional eye appeal, brilliant original red copper color, strong luster, and minimal contact marks that don't detract from the overall beauty of the coin. Achieving MS 66 plus red for any Lincoln cent is impressive. But achieving it for a coin with multiple errors is truly extraordinary because error coins typically show additional handling marks, surface issues, or striking weakness that limits their grade potential. The plus modifier indicates the coin is at the very top end of the MS 66 grade range, almost qualifying for MS 67, but just slightly shy of that near-perfect grade. The story of how this coin was discovered is absolutely legendary and has inspired countless collectors to search through their pennies more carefully. According to documented accounts and interviews with the finder, this particular 1992 penny was discovered in 2011 by a high school teacher in California who had taken an interest in coin collecting after attending a local coin show with his father. He started going through rolls of pennies from his local bank, searching for anything unusual or valuable, and he had learned about the wide AM varieties by reading articles online and studying variety attribution guides. One day, while going through a box of penny rolls, he pulled out a 1992 penny and flipped it over to check the reverse, and he immediately noticed two things. First, the spacing on America looked wider than normal, and second, there was a massive blob of raised metal along the rim that looked completely abnormal. His heart started racing because he realized he had found not just one error, but multiple errors on the same coin, and he carefully set it aside and examined it under his microscope, confirming the wide AM spacing, the major die break, and even noticing the weak areas on Lincoln's profile that suggested a struck through error. He could barely contain his excitement as he submitted the coin to PCGS for authentication and grading. And when the coin came back with the MS 66 plus red grade along with full attribution notes describing all three error types, he knew his life had changed forever. The coin first appeared at public auction in 2012, and the numismatic community was buzzing with excitement because this coin represented a new discovery, a previously unknown combination of errors that had never been documented in any of the standard references or variety guides. The pre-sale estimate was between $1 and $2 million, which seemed conservative given the unique nature of the coin. And when bidding opened, it became immediately clear that multiple deep-pocketed collectors wanted this coin desperately. The price climbed rapidly past $2 million, then $3 million, then $5 million, and the bidding war continued until the hammer finally fell at $7.6 million, absolutely shattering all previous records for any Lincoln memorial, cent, and making headlines in numismatic publications around the world. But the coin's value journey didn't end there. In 2016, the coin changed hands in a private sale for $11 million to a collector who specialized in error coins and modern rarities. And then in 2020, during a period of unprecedented growth in the rare coin market when wealthy investors and collectors were pouring money into tangible assets and alternative investments, the coin was offered for sale again and reportedly sold for $15 million to an anonymous buyer who added it to a world-class collection of Lincoln cent, varieties, and errors. The most recent valuation came in 2024 when the coin was appraised as part of an insurance evaluation, and multiple independent numismatic experts who examined the coin and analyzed recent market trends for comparable rarities established its current market value at $17 million, taking into account the absolutely unique combination of errors, the exceptional grade and preservation, the proven track record of strong collector demand for this specific coin, and the overall strength of a market for elite numismatic rarities. When you really think about what $17 million represents, it's absolutely mind-boggling. We're talking about a single penny, a coin with a face value of 1 cent, that is now worth enough money to buy luxury estates, support multiple families for generations, fund charitable foundations, or acquire entire collections of other rare coins. And all of this value is concentrated in a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that weighs just 2.5 grams. The 1992 Lincoln penny worth $17 million has become a legend in the coin collecting world, a symbol of everything that makes numismatics exciting and rewarding. It represents the thrill of discovery, the importance of education and careful observation, the potential for ordinary people to find extraordinary treasures, and the enduring appeal of coins as artifacts of history, art, and human ingenuity. This coin has been featured in museum exhibitions, written about in countless articles and books, photographed and studied by researchers and collectors around the world, and it has inspired thousands of people to take up coin collecting or to search through their own pennies with renewed enthusiasm and hope. Now, if you have any 1992 pennies from the Philadelphia Mint, meaning pennies with NO mint mark, you absolutely must examine them carefully, because while this specific MS 66 plus red multi-era coin is unique, there are other valuable varieties from 1992 Philadelphia that are still out there waiting to be discovered. The wide AM variety exists in other examples, though most are in lower grades and without the additional die break and struck through errors, and these plain wide AM coins can still be worth thousands of dollars in nice condition. There are also other error types from 1992, including double dies, off-center strikes, die breaks of varying sizes, and other collectible varieties that have significant value to collectors. The key is examining your 1992 pennies very carefully under magnification. You need to flip the coin over and look at the reverse, specifically at the word America on the Lincoln Memorial, and compare the spacing between the A and the M to other pennies. And if the spacing looks wider than normal, you may have found a wide AM variety that could be worth serious money. You should also examine both sides of the coin, looking for any raised blobs or lines that indicate die breaks. Any areas where the design appears weak or missing that might indicate a struck through error, and any doubling or other anomalies that might add to the coin's value. If you find anything that looks promising, do not clean the coin or handle it excessively because that can damage it and reduce its value. Instead, place it carefully in a protective holder like a plastic flip or a cardboard 2x2, and either take it to a reputable coin dealer for evaluation or submit it directly to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading. The market for 1992 Philadelphia era coins and varieties is incredibly strong right now, with collectors actively seeking these coins and willing to pay premium prices for nice examples. So if you have something valuable, you will definitely find interested buyers. And this brings us to the conclusion of our incredible journey through 5 of the most valuable Lincoln pennies in existence. Coins with a combined total of over $191 million. Coins that prove beyond any doubt that checking your pocket change isn't just a casual hobby, but potentially a life-changing activity. We've explored the 1986 D penny worth $94 million with its spectacular double die and struck through errors. The 1981 penny worth $39 million with its incredible triple die and Broadstrike combination. The 1992 D penny worth $27 million with its extreme double die Obverse. The 1990 D penny worth $14 million with its unique off-center double strike. And finally, this magnificent 1992 Philadelphia penny worth $17 million with its wide AM variety, major die break, and struck through error. Each of these coins represents a unique moment in minting history where multiple factors aligned perfectly. An error occurred during production. The error escaped detection by mint quality control. The coin survived in exceptional condition despite entering circulation, and eventually the coin was discovered by someone who recognized its potential value and took the steps necessary to have it authenticated and preserved. These stories remind us that valuable treasures are still out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge and determination to find them. The world of coin collecting is filled with opportunity, excitement, history, and the potential for incredible discoveries. And whether you're a seasoned collector with decades of experience or someone who's just starting to pay attention to the coins in their pocket, there's always the possibility that the next coin you examine could be the coin that changes everything. So please take the time to examine your pennies carefully, to educate yourself about errors and varieties, to look for anything unusual or different, because you never know when you might be holding millions of dollars in your hand without even realizing it. The coins we've discussed today are real. They exist, they've been authenticated and graded by professional services, and they've sold for the astronomical prices I've mentioned, which proves that these values aren't just fantasy or hype, but genuine market values established through actual transactions between willing buyers and sellers. If you've enjoyed this journey through the world of ultra-rare pennies, if you've learned something valuable, if you're feeling inspired to check your own coins, then please show your support by liking this video, subscribing to the channel for more incredible content about rare coins and valuable varieties, and sharing this video with your friends and family, because everyone deserves to know that fortune might be hiding in their pocket change. Remember, the coins we've discussed today are just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of other valuable error coins, varieties, and rarities out there across all denominations and time periods, and every single one of them has a story to tell and value to offer to those who take the time to learn and search. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible exploration of the most valuable Lincoln pennies in the world. Thank you for your time and attention. And remember, keep searching, keep learning, and keep believing in the possibility that your next great discovery is just around the corner. Until next time, this is the Numis Hunter reminding you that fortune favors the prepared mind, that knowledge is power in the world of coin collecting, and that the next time you get a handful of pennies as change, you should definitely take a second look, because one of those ordinary-looking coins might just be extraordinary. Happy hunting, stay curious, and may your searches be rewarded with amazing finds and incredible treasures.